Welcome to the session 1 conclusion breakdown episode. It is the final episode of this session 1, The Art of Mixing. It is the conclusion for this mix. I would like to give you a big thank you for joining me on this illustrious journey. And without further ado, let's break down this final mix. I've done things a little bit different for this one. I picked some key moments from the final moments in the mix, and we're gonna break them down. Now, first thing we're gonna do is that I'm gonna press broadcast. 1 and let's go. Okay. Gain staging. Very, very important. What is gain staging? If you're not sure, very simply, we want to make sure that when we start the mix, we have enough room to increase the volume for the ending. Okay, imagine yourself if you are getting into production and you are structuring your piece of music and you are at the mixing stage, right? For most cases, just generically speaking, you want to have a mix that builds up in volume, and then you have the big sort of crescendo and grand finale at the end of your song. Okay, so that means you want to start a little bit softer in volume, okay, and you build up. In other words, from the engineering perspective, you want to start from a lower voltage and build up the amount of voltage you're putting into all your plugins, all your processing, everything for the final grand sort of finale. In the mixing perspective, it's my approach to do the same. So we start off relatively, balanced. In some cases, for this particular mix, I wanted to start a little bit louder to really get things going. Because when you're doing a mix for online, it's a little bit different. And you can be a little more creative about it. Sometimes it's better to start off softer. Sometimes it's really good to start off loud. But you always want to be careful that you're not super loud. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you're starting softer or you're starting loud. You want to make sure that we leave room for the ending, so then we can go louder. So generally want to increase for the ending. So then when we get near the end, it's still impactful. It's still provocative, It's still sexy. It's not a wet diaper at the end of it because you don't have any room to move. You can't start super loud and then finish even more super loud because you already started super loud and you don't have room to breathe. So you always want to be careful of that, because if you start super loud, then when you do something softer, it's going to be really quiet. So you always want to be careful how the volumes. You notice throughout the mix, we were making sure that the master volume was always balanced out. Partially that is because of filming it live and making sure some other aspects that are involved. But a key there is maintaining your gain staging. So I want to make sure that we're building, and then near the end we can really let loose and we have that extra few dB to really make it impactful at the end. The hard style hard techno. These are genres that can be caught up in this gain issue, because it's already pretty compressed and distorted. That's just the style of the music. And from watching, tapes and being at some festivals, seeing there's a headset, seeing that bit more of a push of festivals, so that hard style and harder genres of music, you have to be careful with your gain staging, because if you're quickly switching for what happens, at least for me, is that the drops become less impactful, because it's just constantly hard, it's constantly pinning, it's constantly, you don't have, and then first off, you're running into your gain staging, and the front of house has issues, because every single song is the same level. You don't want that. Secondly, we're running into the aspects of dynamic range. Now, we brushed on dynamic range in one of the earlier breakdown episodes, but fundamentally, quiet moments are quiet, loud moments are loud, and we don't want to have a sausage fest. Okay, nothing wrong with sausage fest, but not when you're engineering music. Okay, we don't want it to be just everything pinned and everything just, you can't even see the waveforms. If you can't see the transients in your music, you need to fix it. It's not artistic choice anymore. Okay, you can't say artistic choice. That just means, to me, you have no idea what you're doing. Okay, and you need to just go back and sit down and figure out what to do better in your mix, rather than saying it's artistic choice, because the clipping in the direction of distorting is just, if you're doing it in an analog environment, yes, it can, but it's very musical. If you're doing it in a digital environment, FL Studio is a bit funky. It can create some cool things, but you just really want to be careful. You really want to be careful. I'm getting a bit off topic. That's more mixing. It's mixing from a creative standpoint, not like mixing from DJ perspective. If I can confuse the bloody crap out of you, I do apologize. But let's get back. So, bit of a rant there. Gain staging and dynamic range. Okay, two very important things to keep in mind. Okay, we've gain staged well, and now we have room to increase if we want to. Doesn't mean we have to, but we have that little bit extra to deal with. And your front of house, the engineers who are listening to you perform will love you, because we have a little bit extra that we can deal with. Let's have a look. Right off the bat, we're now using a cue points to do quick edits on the music, okay? We're not just having cue points now to select, to switch between a song. We're now having cue points that we can creatively edit live to create a live edit, okay? So we're following the timing, we're going with the groove. And now I know that the cue points I've selected, there's a few that are very impactful, and I want to incorporate them with the quiet moments, okay? So, and this is when this dynamic range comes in, okay? So this is quiet. Isn't much going on, right? And then we're gonna hit it with a loud moment, and it's gonna really be impactful because we're going from a very low voltage to a very high voltage very quickly. And also we're doing it not 100% on the beat. We're doing it just off to catch you off guard, and then we go straight in for the attack. Like, imagine a snake hunting for its prey, where it's coming in, and instead of it attacking when the prey thinks it's going to attack it, you attack it just a bit earlier. Now, you notice how heavy music is, right? Now, what most people do is that, okay, that's super heavy. Okay, now let's have something really quick, and it's usually very, very loud, and then we're going to go straight into another super heavy drop, right? But then what happens is that second one, because you haven't had, you're not allowing the dynamic range to be there, that the second drop isn't just as impactful as it can be, because there isn't such a huge volume difference. Oh, as you noticed, we time traveled there. See a time travel? Yeah. So what I've done here is that we've added in the second track, okay? We've checked the cue points, we've checked the master tempo, we've made sure that it's the right tempo that I want. Now we're building. Cool. So you notice how we're going here, we're building. Now, because I know that my piece has a good amount of dynamic range in it, and I can increase the volume if need be. It's quite transient, and it's quite impactful. Just the way that I've engineered it, I know that I can add in a little more volume for the build, and I can add a lot more information. Then when I come in, it's still gonna hit enough because there's space for that low end, right? If we compare it to the first one, see how it's very heavy in your face. We go to the next one. It's still impactful. It's not as loud, but it maintains a lot more of the low end in it. So we can then increase the previous build, but then I know I have a much higher dynamic range available, that it's going to be more impactful. Okay, now this is a point in the mix where we've played one super heavy song, we've played another super heavy song, and we're just coming off a very high intense moment. Okay, and I know that. Okay, so we've done one, we've done the second one, we're coming off the third one, or how many it is, and we need a bit of a now, breath. So we need to allow it naturally to descend and allow the natural dynamic range so we have, space to breathe again. And notice how allowing your mix to breathe also then allows the audience to switch their perspective on things. It isn't just constantly drop, drop, drop in intensity. You allow people to lean back a little bit. Okay, And then also you're applying an aspect or mixing which I don't see enough, and that is space. Okay, you're allowing space, and you're allowing things to just settle. Almost like as a comedian uses those pauses to effect, it's all about timing. It's about that delivery. It's allowing that space between, the call of the joke, the question of the joke, and then the answer, that delivery. So it's all about using the timing. And Seinfeld talked about this in some of those episodes of Comedians in Cars. Working with it's the timing and knowing when to deliver, and interacting with the audience, interacting with your comedy in a creative and artistic way. You see how quiet things get. Okay, so because we've gained stage things well, we can allow the natural compression that occurs from recording, and we can allow the moments to be loud, and then we can allow the softer moments to be soft and gentle, and we can just hear them. Now for me, that is just rocking, and I want to just bang my head, because we go from something that's so gentle and quiet, and we just bring it back in and just go full, full throttle, and we just go back to like full intensity and as loud as possibly we want, to finish things off. And that to me is the art of mixing. See what we did there? Woo! Thank you so much for joining me for this brand new series. It's been a learning process for me as well. Just to be very introspective about what I do. Sometimes I don't think about it as much. I just sort of do it. So it's been cool to look at some of the clips like, what am I actually doing there? Let's break it down and see if I can share something cool with you guys. And what else? Yeah, I think there's been some key moments for myself. I'm like, I definitely need to improve that. I need to do this. I need to do that differently. Let's change this, which has been fantastic. And I hope with the same token, you've come from a positive mindset to these breakdowns, And like I mentioned at the start, when we looked at the mix, no matter if you're just beginning or if you consider yourself an expert, there's always something that can be learned, no matter at what level you are at. Being from a perspective of I know everything, it isn't going to get you very far. Being from a perspective that you can always learn from someone, you can always be a student. I find is key. Is very important. I probably said key and fundamental more times than I have in this whole year. What else? Yeah, I think each breakdown has its own sort of has its own space, and just if there's one thing I leave with you here is just always be open-minded when you're approaching your mix. Don't allow all the preconceptions and you got to do it this way, you got to do it that way. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing, what everyone else says. Just think about how you like to approach the mix. And all I'm saying is just be willing to push yourself. Be willing to be creative about it. Don't just do what everyone else is doing. Do what you want to do. Do it how you want to do it, and don't listen to anyone else. Listen. You get what I mean. Listen to. Don't listen to anyone else. If you're passionate about something, don't listen to the naysayers. Okay, find people that love the art of mixing and listen to what they have to say about it. If you feel that there's something that you can contribute to that as well, then talk about it. Now, just doing what everyone else is doing isn't doing anyone any favors. Doing yourself, being authentic in who you are and how you approach mixing, is key. And if you find something, find a little nugget that can help you in approaching your mixing from these breakdowns, fantastic. I am keen to break down the next session, mix, and smash out these. Not smash out, because that sounds like just get over and done. I want to make sure we put care and time and effort into it. The key is quality of quantity here. So we'll do them, but we'll do them well. Okay, thank you so much for joining me on these breakdown episodes and enjoying the mix. And I'll see you all very, very, very soon. Okay, remember, gain staging, dynamic range. Very, very important. Very important. Clipping, distortion can be good sometimes. Okay, but you gotta be careful with it. Gotta be careful. Jacking everything up to 11s, not doing anyone any favors. Okay, I'll see you soon.